A woman stands near the entrance. A man approaches. They talk. She shakes her head. She walks away. He stays there, standing still, watching her leave. That footage sat in a police evidence room for 3 weeks before anyone looked at it, before anyone connected it to what happened next. Her name was Emily Richardson, 29 years old, graphic designer, lived alone in a luxury apartment complex in Scottsdale. 4 days after that conversation outside the bar, another security camera in her building's underground parking garage captures something else. A woman walking toward the elevator, and someone behind her, following at a distance. That was the last time Emily Richardson was seen alive. 1 week later, her body was found in an abandoned industrial warehouse near Sky Harbor Airport. No witnesses, no Dina, no obvious suspect. Just 2 pieces of CCTV footage that didn't make sense until investigators went backward, retracing every moment of Emily's last days, and discovered that sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is say no to the wrong person. Most people think crimes like this start with stalking, obsession, weeks or months of escalation. That's the pattern we expect. Someone who knows the victim, follows them, plans meticulously. Police started there. They looked at Emily's ex-boyfriend from 6 months ago. Clean breakup. He had moved to California. They interviewed coworkers, neighbors, friends, everyone in her life. They checked her dating apps, her social media messages, her phone records. No threats, no concerning interactions, no red flags anywhere. They found nothing that connected anyone to her. The parking garage footage showed a figure, but the angle was wrong. The lighting was poor. The resolution wasn't clear enough for facial recognition. They had a victim, and they had footage of someone following her, but they had no identity, no motive, no connection. Dead end. Wrong. The connection existed. It just wasn't where they were looking. It was in 90 seconds outside a bar that Emily probably forgot about 10 minutes later. Who was Emily Richardson? She grew up in Tucson, moved to Phoenix after college, worked for a design agency downtown, loved her job, had a tight group of friends from grad school, talked to her mother every Sunday morning without fail. Her coworkers described her as creative, reliable, the person who brought homemade cookies to meetings, and always volunteered to help with projects. She lived on the 12th floor of a building with 180 units, went to yoga 3 times a week, ran in the mornings, kept a routine that made her feel safe. Normal Thursday. Around 8:30, Emily said she was heading home. Early morning meeting the next day. The bar's exterior security camera was pointing at the entrance. It caught everything. A man walks up to her. He's smiling. He says something. She responds politely, but her body language is closed, arms crossed, taking a small step back. He gestures toward the bar entrance like he's inviting her for a drink. She shakes her head. She turns and walks away toward the parking lot where she'd left her car. The camera shows him standing there. Emily drove home that night. She texted her roommate from college who lived in Seattle, said she'd had a good time, mentioned nothing about the interaction because it wasn't worth mentioning. She got to her apartment building around 9, swiped her keycard, went to her unit. The next morning, she went to work, had her early meeting. Everything was normal. Friday night, she stayed in, watched movies, ordered takeout. Saturday, she went to yoga, had lunch with a friend, went grocery shopping. Sunday morning, she was supposed to meet her mother for brunch at 11. She didn't show up. She didn't answer her phone. Her mother called the building manager, who did a wellness check. Emily's car was in the parking garage. Her apartment was locked. No signs of disturbance. Police started a missing person investigation. They canvassed the building. Nobody had seen her leave Sunday morning. Saturday night, one neighbor said they heard the elevator around 11. But that wasn't unusual. Security footage from the building showed Emily entering the parking garage elevator Saturday evening at 8:47 p.m., returning from grocery shopping, carrying bags. That was the last footage of her entering the building. Exterior cameras show nothing. For 3 weeks, investigators had nothing. No body, no suspects, no witnesses. Just that grainy parking garage footage that showed someone, but not who. They released still images to the media, asking for public help identifying the person. No leads. He'd seen something. Emily's body was found inside, in a back room that had been used for storage years ago. She had been there for days. Cause of death was strangulation. No sexual assault, no robbery. Her jewelry was still on her. This wasn't about theft. This wasn't about that. This was about something else. Forensic teams processed the scene. No fingerprints, no Dina that didn't belong to the warehouse workers who'd been in and out over the years. Whoever did this was careful or lucky, but they found something else. tire tracks outside the warehouse, partial footprint near where her body was found, and her phone. Her phone was powered off, but it was there, left deliberately, like he wanted them to find her eventually. They pulled her phone records. Her last text was Friday night to her mother saying goodnight. Nothing Saturday, nothing Sunday. Her phone went offline Saturday at 11:47 p.m. They mapped her movements. Work, home, yoga studio, grocery store. Then, they started reviewing every security camera in a 3-block radius of her apartment building for the week before she disappeared. Gas stations, traffic cameras, building entrances, frame by frame. It took 80 hours of footage review, and then they found it. The bar, the deuce. Thursday night, Emily walking out, a man approaching, the conversation, the rejection, him standing there watching her leave. Now they had something, a possible suspect. But who was he? The footage quality from the bar was better than the parking garage, but still not perfect. They enhanced it, sent it to facial recognition databases. Nothing. They released the footage to the media. Local news ran it with the headline, "Woman rejects man days before disappearance." Do you know him? 3 days later, they got a call. A woman in Tempe said she recognized him, her brother. She hadn't seen him in 2 months, but that was definitely him. His name was Marcus Hayes, 33 years old, no criminal record, worked in its support for a telecommunications company, lived alone in a small apartment in Mesa. When police went to his apartment, he wasn't there. They got a warrant. They searched the place. What they found explained everything and nothing at the same time. Marcus Hayes had been diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder 6 years earlier. 2 distinct personalities. The diagnosis was in medical records they obtained through the warrant. He'd been in therapy, on medication, stable for years according to his psychiatrist. But he'd stopped going to therapy 8 months ago. Stopped taking his medication 6 months ago. Police found his car 3 days later in a parking lot in Tucson, 100 miles south. Marcus Hayes was found in a motel room nearby. When they arrested him, he seemed confused. Asked why they were there, said he didn't know anything about Emily Richardson. They brought him in for questioning. 6 hours of interrogation. He maintained he didn't know her. They showed him the bar footage. His face changed, recognition. But he said he didn't remember talking to her. They showed him the parking garage footage. He went quiet. His lawyer arrived. Questioning stopped. Psychiatric evaluation was ordered. The evaluation confirmed dissociative identity disorder, severe, untreated. 2 distinct personalities that had become more separated when he stopped treatment. One personality had approached Emily at the bar, been rejected, and moved on. The other personality had taken offense, followed her routine, learned where she lived, waited in her parking garage early Sunday morning when he knew she'd be going for her morning run, confronted her. And when she didn't recognize him, when she rejected him again, without even knowing she was. Rejecting him again, he snapped. The trial took 4 months. The defense argued diminished capacity due to mental illness. The prosecution argued he knew right from wrong, evidenced by the fact that he tried to hide the body, that he powered off her phone, that he avoided cameras where possible. The jury heard testimony from his psychiatrist, who said untreated can lead to violent episodes where one personality acts and the other has no memory of it. They heard testimony from forensic psychologists who said the notebook showed clear intent from at least one personality. They heard from Emily's mother, who testified about Sunday brunch, about how her daughter never missed it, about how she knew something was wrong immediately. The jury deliberated for 2 days. Guilty of second-degree murder, not first-degree, because they couldn't prove premeditation from the personality that was dominant at the time. Sentenced to 30 years. Marcus Hayes is in a psychiatric prison facility. He receives treatment now. According to his doctors, the personality that killed Emily has no memory of doing it. The personality that talked to her at the bar is devastated by what the other one did. 2 people in one body. One of them is a murderer. One of them is a victim of his own mind. Both of them are in prison. Emily's mother speaks at victim advocacy events now. She talks about the moment at the bar that Emily never mentioned, probably never thought about again. A man asking for a drink. A polite no. The kind of interaction women have constantly and forget immediately because it's so common. But for Marcus Hayes, or the part of him that couldn't handle rejection, that moment was everything. She did nothing wrong. She was friendly, clear, appropriate. And that's what makes this case so terrifying. There was no way for her to know. The man who smiled and walked away at the bar wasn't the same person mentally who waited in her parking garage 4 days later. You can't predict a split that happens inside someone's mind. You can't recognize danger when it wears a friendly face and hides a second personality underneath. Here's what the Phoenix Police Department doesn't advertise, but what their internal memos show. In the 3 months before Emily's death, there had been 18 reports from women in the downtown Phoenix area about a man approaching them at bars, being polite, being rejected, and then being seen later near their cars or buildings. 18 reports. Different descriptions because the encounters happened at different times. Different mental states. None of the reports led to any action because politely talking to someone isn't a crime. Following someone in public spaces is hard to prove. The reports sat in a database, unconnected, until after Emily was found. Then, they pulled them all. Different women? Same pattern. Approach, rejection, reappearance. Marcus Hayes was never arrested for any of those encounters because he never did anything illegal in those moments. Until he did. Until one night, the personality that couldn't handle rejection took control at the wrong time, in the wrong place, with the wrong woman, who had no reason to think she was in danger.